Florida Senator Rick Scott is speaking out on the U.S. commitment to Venezuela, as well as the possible threat of another government shutdown. Here's WFLA's Corey Davis in Tampa. Early voting ended Saturday, and tomorrow is Election Day. Maggie DeRosiers joins us from the newsroom with news on the early turnout. Plus, a new sentencing in connection with the attempted murder at the Richard Spencer rally at UF. The words Colton Fears had for the courtroom before learning his sentence.
A judge has handed down a multi-year sentence for 30-year-old Colton Fears. Good evening, I'm Chris O'Brien.
And I'm Rachel Rhodes. Fears had originally accepted a plea deal for just 17 months. WUFT's Sunny Mucha was at the court hearing this morning. A suspect is in custody following Friday's attack on two mosques in New Zealand that left 50 dead. Suspected shooter Brenton Tarrant appeared smiling in court this weekend as he flashed the white power symbol. Police say the 28-year-old Australian emailed a racist manifesto just before shooting. According to his family, Tarrant showed no signs of extremism. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern says tougher gun laws are to come. In light of the recent event, Islam on Campus will be holding a memorial tonight to honor the victims and families targeted at the Christchurch massacre. The event is at 7 p.m. in Turlington Plaza. Coming up on WUFT News, first at 5, early voting has ended. We will have a breakdown of the votes so far and what to expect. This and more after the break. Thank you, Maggie. The sunshine today sure felt nicer than the clouds this past weekend.
That's right, Rachel, but I heard clouds and rain may be in the forecast again tonight.
Sports anchor Matt Cerna has more.
That's right, guys. It was a thrilling weekend in Gator sports. Oh, guys, March Madness is here, and I'm psyched. Have y'all filled out y'all's brackets? Yes or no?
Yes. Actually, well, sorry to cut you off. I'm kind of excited about it. I'm actually from North Carolina, so I did Duke.
I'm the enemy. I got UNC. They're playing great. I know UNC lost them the other day, but they really look like the better team. Who you got, Matt?
Our news team will bring you another show tomorrow at 5, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a great night. More than 9,000 people have already requested their ballots. There will also be 5 early voting locations that will be open from March 9th to the 16th. Alachua County Supervisor of Elections Kim Barton says it's important to turn in your mail-in ballots early. All vote-by-mail ballots must be received by 7 p.m. on election night, March 19th. Well, Chris, this weekend was pretty gloomy, a lot of fog and mist.
Yep.
The White House has drafted documents to declare that national emergency. But how exactly would that move work? Karen Kaifa explains from Washington. WUFT's entertainment reporter Abby Murphy is here to fill us in. Our news team will bring you another show tomorrow at 5, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Thank you for watching and have a great night. Welcome back. Florida is facing a severe teacher shortage. In terms of applicants, Alachua County has just 600 in the system now, when in prior years the pool reached 3,000 or more. What if you had a choice when it comes to your electric company? A group is close to getting an amendment on the 2020 ballot. Thank you, Skylar. A Florida woman caught a mini nature documentary on camera as it unfolded on the roof of her screened-in pool. Plus, the federal government is back open for business. That's our top story. Good evening, I'm Rachel Rhodes.
And I'm Chris O'Brien.
A statewide teacher shortage has left vacancies in local public schools. Matt Cerna is here to tell us more. Thank you, Maggie. The sunshine today sure felt nicer than the clouds this past weekend.
That's right, Rachel, but I heard clouds and rain may be in the forecast again tonight.
Sports anchor Matt Cerna has more.
That's right, guys. It was a thrilling weekend in Gator sports.
A local church fights hunger in Guatemala by selling a seasonal staple. The Church of God in Gainesville is selling pumpkins to raise money for poverty-stricken areas in the country. They call it Buy a Pumpkin, Feed a Child. In Guatemala, 7 out of 10 children are chronically undernourished, according to the World Food Program. The country has the 6th highest rate of malnutrition in the world. 100% of the proceeds go towards feeding the children. The pumpkin sale goes through the end of October. Deborah Ramirez was Kavanaugh's classmate at Yale. The New Yorker reports she says she remembered him exposing himself to her at a college dorm party. Kavanaugh denies the claim. One classmate at the party says they remember being told about the incident. Others say they don't remember the incident at all. One of them, Ramirez says, encouraged him. Spokesperson for Chairman of Senate Judiciary Committee Senator Chuck Grassley says they will look into the new accusations. Plans for Christine Blasey Ford to testify Thursday will continue. That's your news in 90, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. According to Ocala police, David Johnson fled the store on bicycle after fatally shooting his ex-girlfriend, Carly Cronin. He was found at a nearby home with a self-inflicted gunshot wound and hospitalized. The argument began in the garden center when employees heard Cronin screaming for help. They called police just before Johnson shot Cronin. Ocala Fire Rescue treated her on scene, but she was later pronounced dead at Ocala Regional Medical Center. With a vote of 50 to 48, it was the slimmest margin of victory of a Supreme Court judge since 1881. That record was previously held by Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. In the wake of this messy confirmation process, both political parties are urging their voters to now take their energy to the polls next month. Justice Kavanaugh will take his seat on the High Court starting tomorrow. That's your news in 90, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. The U.S. has imposed new sanctions against Iran, ending all economic benefits from the 2015 nuclear deal. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced the sanctions, which targets Iran's oil industry. Pompeo says these were severe sanctions made to stop Tehran's, quote, destabilizing activities in the Middle East. The president indicated his intention of pulling out of the 2015 nuclear deal back in May, and the U.S. remains the only country to back out. Iran responded by holding military air drills in the northern part of the country and calling this an economic war and bullying. The drills will continue through tomorrow. That's your news in 90, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. CBS announced it would lead an investigation into the accusations. They say Moonvest's exit compensation is dependent on the results of the investigation. CBS also announced they would donate $20 million to groups that support the Me Too movement. This money will be deducted from Moonvest's severance package. That's your news in 90, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Cape Canaveral is setting up for its latest mission to touch the sun. NASA's Parker Solar Probe is waiting on the launch pad to begin its mission Saturday. It will be sent into the sun's atmosphere to understand why the rarefied gases there are 300 times hotter than the sun's surface. A mother is being charged with first-degree murder after throwing her child in a river. Witnesses told police Shakayla Denson waded into the Hillsborough River and threw her daughter in before leaving the river by herself on Thursday. Tampa police say Denson stole a car before heading to the river. They received a call around 4 p.m. and a dive team responded immediately. They found the body 30 minutes later, 70 feet offshore. The child was pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. At her first appearance in court this morning, Denson was denied bond.
Rachel Rhodes has been checking out the combined work of mural artists and joins us now with the backstory. Rachel?
The Urban Revitalization Project is accepting more mural submissions right now. They have an eye toward making connections between artists and growing the collection of public art. It sounds like a parking garage, and it looks like one too, on all of the floors except the first. The Urban Revitalization Project has had its hands and brushes on the southwest downtown garage since last March. The URP worked with the City of Gainesville and local artists to fill the space with about 50 murals.
Instead of trying to figure it out on your own, or not having that support system, so we kind of want to bridge those gaps in the community.
Almost every wall on the first floor is full. Now they are looking to take their art to the next level, the second story, that is. They asked each interested artist to send them 4 or 5 of their best pieces and a concept sketch for the mural. Alex Mathia has lived in Gainesville since she was 6, and her mural in the garage was her first. She calls it the Peapod Room.
It's indescribable. I really feel like I'm part of Gainesville now. I've always felt like part of Gainesville, but I definitely feel rooted here, and it's great.
Most of the paint used is recycled or donated for the artists to use.
What I'd like to see this year is a little more financial support from the city and from private business owners as well.
For Art Walk on February 22nd, they will hold an open studio space in the garage. The URP hopes this will attract artists not yet involved with the murals. The URP says anyone who wants to get involved or donate paints can visit yourproject.com. Reporting live in the UF newsroom, Rachel Rhodes, WUFT News.